to Steeler Nation Live. Big Tiz, Big O. Guys, we are here on another fantastic occasion for the Steelers. A big win versus the Buffalo Bills. Didn't know if it would happen for a minute, but it happened. We got another win, bumping the Steelers up to 3-6. Big O, how'd you feel about that?
I felt pretty good. Overall, a lot of people say it's against the Bills, whatnot. But you know what? When you look at the win-loss column, you see wins and losses. It doesn't matter who you played. And the way we were playing lately, we came into this game as the underdog.
Right, exactly.
To the Buffalo Bills.
Well, you know what? Looking from how the Steelers played in previous games, I don't blame the odd makers putting us out there on the lower half of the totem pole. But the thing about it is, you know what, guys? Sunday was for veterans, and that's a very important day. And I'm gonna let my boy Big O here talk a little bit about the veterans. Big O has a young one that's actually getting ready to serve for you guys out there in America. Bless him. You know what? It's a big thing to do, and I'm gonna let Big O expound on it.
That's right. For all of you veterans out there, fellow veterans, because I served my time, I was overseas, and putting on a uniform, proud to be a veteran. And it's very special this week, as you allude to, Big Tiz. My son he left today for the Navy. He'll leave for basic training, and he'll be gone for a while. Bittersweet moment for a father-son. You don't want to say goodbye to your son. You don't want to see the tears. Good tears, happy tears, but it's something very difficult to watch. You never want to see your children cry, but you know what? This was a heartfelt moment, and it's just kind of hard to talk about it, but it's said and done, and it's just I wish nothing but the best for my son. I know he's going to do good in the Navy.
Right.
He had good parenting. Not to pat myself on the back, but most kids out there, they don't know what they're doing these days, even going to college. But I commend my son, I salute my son, and I wish him nothing but the best. Getting back to fellow veterans, a lot of veterans out there. Thank you so much. It's about time that we're finally getting recognized the way we do. Not to push any plugs today, but I went to the Texas Roadhouse. Excellent steak. If you want to get a great steak and a good potato and some cold beer, Texas Roadhouse. But we don't want to get Sal at McGinney's upset. But I just, had to go there. Veterans Day, free meal. What are you going to do? But just want to salute to all the veterans. And Tyler, I love you, son. This show is for you. I'm going to dedicate this show for you.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about. You guys out there, everyone, these veterans are out here doing it for us. So you guys give them respect. If you see one, shake his hand and thank him. This is a special day, and don't let it go by the wayside. You know what? Let's go on. We're gonna step on into the show. One thing that came to light in the show, well, actually during the game, was Big Ben.
Oh,
that was huge. That was huge. There was one of the announcers alluded that Big Ben was either looking to be traded, or that the Steelers were looking into trading Big Ben. And this came as a shock during the game for this to come out. And I don't know if you caught it, Big O, but as the game went on, the Steelers quickly, I mean, no matter than like 10 minutes, put out a statement out there saying that we are not trying to trade Big Ben. There's no talks in the works of trading Big Ben. It was crazy.
Outruned the second. Immediately put a hammer to this one. And you know what? Is almost, you want to call us journalists. We're not there yet. We're trying our best. But for a journalist to put this kind of information out there was absurd.
Yeah.
Before you know 100%, you really shouldn't put anything out there. That's why we research our information, because we might not give you a lot of information, but the information we give you at Steeler Nation Live is pretty much accurate, and we check our resources before we put anything out. And for somebody to put that kind of information out there without knowing 100%, it's absurd, and it goes against all rules of journalism.
Well, a lot of it too is he put that out there on a bigger scale. This was like on national TV, nationwide, that he put this out there without having all the facts. So I don't even know what's going to happen with him on that, just the way he put it out there so quickly without even getting all the facts out there. So that's another thing to look at. So that's going to be a very, very tense situation, and I think Ben is going to still have to field questions on this, because that came up during that game. And one thing about it, though, Steelers came out victorious, big win, and the Buffalo Bills, they came in, they tried to make a game of it early, which scared me, but you know what, the Steelers defense came in proud, did what they had to do, shut them down, and the offense started to come around, but they're still in that lagging stage. So, like I said, it's got to be a well-balanced machine, and it still have a lot of work to do.
Right. Being from Rochester, we have a lot of Buffalo media, and I love to listen to these guys after a Buffalo Bills game, and it's funny because when I was listening to the game on Sunday afterwards, they had a lot of negative things to say about the Buffalo Bills. And what struck me as funny, and I have to commend this, I'm not going to say what show it was, but if you're a local Rochesterian and you listen to 96.5 on your FM dial, they play the Bills games. And to listen to the talk show afterwards, I can't even speak, Big Tiz. But one caller called up and said exactly what I wanted to call up and say. When the Bills win, they're the greatest team in the world. Everybody is number one on the team. But if you lose, everybody is the worst player on the team. Coaches should be fired or whatnot. And finally, somebody called them out on it, and guess what they did? They hung up on him, went to the next caller.
But you know what? That guy right there, see, and that's what I mean on this show. If you're going to be a true fan, be a true fan. Black and yellow all the way. Just don't go halfway, or when they win in, you bash them, or when they're losing, you're on them. You know what I mean? You got to be there for life, man. This is black and gold, black and yellow for life. This is where it is. And fans like that who support like that, to me, are not true fans.
No, absolutely not. And that's why Buffalo hasn't been to the Super Bowl since 90, was it 90?
Maybe 90, maybe 91. I'm not sure.
But we got to give them props, though. The only team in football, NFL history, to go 4 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But you lost them all. But this is not the Buffalo Bills show. This is Pittsburgh Steelers show. We'll talk more about that. And during that radio broadcast, they had the coach, Marone, was interviewing. And I was kind of confused where he was getting at. Maybe he watched the wrong game, but he had nothing but great things to say about E.J. Manuel. Maybe he's trying to boost his confidence, but maybe, I watched one game, maybe he watched another game. At points, he was right on.
Right.
Okay, let's give him some credit. He's just coming off injury. He hasn't played in a couple weeks. Playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether the Steelers have been in a rut lately or not, they're still the Pittsburgh Steelers. But still, for the coach to commend his quarterback on a great performance, and he's behind him, I don't understand where he's coming from. There's a lot of drop passes.
Right.
But then again, he looked very confused in the pocket. And I think we're going to have to blame, I blame the coaching staff of the Bills who blew that game.
Well, I think, to be honest, I don't believe he was ready to start for that game anyway. And they got him healthy, and they got the bill of health saying that he was healthy, so they figured, okay, let's just start him. But you had a couple other guys behind him that were grooming okay. So let's try to get through this game, because you threw him in there, and he wasn't ready at all. And I felt bad for the guy. He's a young guy, and I think he could be a decent talent down the road. But you threw him into a hostile environment. You threw him into a defense that was amped up, and you threw him into an offense that was trying to click. So, he had a lot of things going against him, and he had no run game to support him.
Right.
So,
and what confused me the week before, against the number one defense, the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo ran all over them.
Yeah.
And now you're playing a team that just got ran over. That the defense, the stopping the run was not there. Something was going on for the Steelers. They're not out there doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not executing. So why did the Bills go to the passing game as opposed to the running game? That confused me as well. When I talked about the coaching, blew it. Now, on the opening drive, the Bills got the ball, an interception by Ben Roethlisberger, and he marched down the field. Now, granted, it's the opening drive. It's early still. 4th and 4. Me, personally, if I was coaching the Bills, I would have went for it, Big Tiz. Because think about it. They had C.J. Spiller. They got Jackson. They got the tight ends. They could throw it. Stevie Johnson. All a threat down in the red zone. Now, if they don't make it, okay, now Steelers are pinned down deep in their own zone, 1-2 yard line. What is the history, Big Tiz, of starting out so deep in our?
That's Pittsburgh. Like I said, they're a short yardage team, and for some reason we always start off. For me, all season it seems like our average start was anywhere between the 10-yard line to the 15-yard line.
Correct.
And I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. But that's Pittsburgh for you.
Right, and it's early enough in the game. If you don't score, your defense is good enough to hold the Steeler offense, which is not been doing a great job as well. So right there is a coaching blunder that kind of messed it up for the Bills. Those two plays, I believe, one of the two plays that I believe were the turning points of this game was the not going for the touchdown when 4th and goal,
right,
and also that offsides penalty on a field goal, which gave the Steelers another opportunity to score, and that's when Le'Veon Bell followed up with a 7-yard TD run.
Well,
that was it.
Right, and that was really the slamming of the door in case for Pittsburgh on the Bills was that offsides penalty on the field goal, and that stretched the lead out even further. So the Bills have a lot to work on. To me, they're almost mirror images of the Steelers, except for we have a better quarterback. But a lot of instances, their defense is young, and they're trying to get it together. We have a semi old / young defense, but we're still a little bit better than them at this point. So much kudos for the Bills coming in, giving us a game early, but you know what? The Steelers withheld up, and they won that game 23-10. Now, a good thing that happened for the Steelers as well was the fact that the Bengals were playing the Baltimore Ravens.
If you caught that game, pretty much Baltimore was controlling the whole game until the last few minutes where the Bengals had that Hail Mary.
Yep.
What a great touchdown. It was tied it up, but unfortunately they lose in overtime.
Exactly.
Which would have been very beneficial to the Steelers and to us if the Bengals would have won. Granted, the Bengals would have been 7-3, but we would have been tied with the Ravens and getting up there with the Browns as well.
Right. And because we beat the Ravens, Pittsburgh actually would have moved ahead of the Ravens as well with the same record. So you have to look at that. And then if a loss was coming with Cleveland, Pittsburgh can be right back up there again.
That's it.
So like I said, there's a lot of things, a lot of football left to be played this season, and the Steelers are in it. And I think they have a chance, but they have to play balanced football. We talked about this many other episodes before. It has to be that balance. The offense has to be clicking on all cylinders, and the defense has to be clicking on all cylinders at the same exact time.
Let's not forget about the special teams that were not that special Sunday.
Well, I don't know. I thought they did have some spurts now to where Antonio Brown almost broke off a couple.
We're not talking about the receiving aspect. We're talking about the kicking aspect.
Oh yeah.
We're not talking about Sean Swisham either.
No.
With those floater field goals, it's like playing beach ball at the beach in a high wind. You kick the ball up and the ball stands there. And the last two field goals he made, I didn't think they were going to.
I didn't either, because that thing was up there for a while, and I was like, is that short? I mean, I had to look at it real quick.
And that's why you don't want to rely on field goals to win games, because you've seen in the past, field goals can lose games for you.
Right.
Getting back to the Raider game, those two field goals that he missed. But hopefully, we don't want to make excuses for the punter. There was a lot of wind. Mm-hmm. He did kick into the wind twice, 23 yards and 10 yards or whatever. Not a good average. But I think he ended the game with an average, 36 yards per punt. Maybe we'll give him another shot. I don't know. I'm thinking about trying out.
If he makes it, I'm going to go for another team. I'm telling you. But anyway.
Whoa.
Hey, guys, we're going to hit to a commercial break. We're going to let you guys head up with our big boy, Rude Dog Reyes, out there on the West Coast. Rudy's got a lot to say about what his feelings are coming out there with the Pittsburgh Steelers, winning against Buffalo Bills. He says he was excited about it. He got a lot of feedback from other people. So, you know what? They're on a good path, so let's hope they continue. Rudy, take it from here on Steeler Nation Live.
From our studios out in Rochester, New York, we head out west to Southern California where the palm trees are swaying as we check out Rude Dog Reyes as he does his thing out there for Steeler Nation Live. Rudy, what's going on out there in the West Coast for Steeler Nation Live?
Good evening, Steeler Nation. This is Rude Dog Reyes. Yeah, the smile on my face is for that very same reason. Tonight, Big Tiz, Big O, we have something to hang our hat on, at least in this game. So with that being said, we reached some pinnacles tonight on defense, offense, special teams with a 50-yard punt return by Antonio Brown. We have a lot of things to hang our hat on. We had 164 passing yards from Ben Roethlisberger to respective receiver. That's good news. 4.1 yards per rush. Also very extensive. I don't care much for Bell shake and bake in the background, but overall I think he did a fantastic job. Again, he is a rookie. Let's all keep that in mind, shall we? So with that being said, there were some relative turnovers, being 1-1 on both sides of the ball. Bills had one, we had one. However, we had no special teams touchdowns. We definitely were penalized more so than we should, but still kept it under 50 yards for penalties. As far as first downs for penalties, we did have 2. So that's a feather in our hat. Overall, Big Tiz, Big O, we did a great job. It was a well thought out game. It started off kind of slow. It started off with, punt, but let's face it, Steeler Nation, we got the W. That's the best part about it. Still in contention in the AFC North. As sloppy as it sounds, as strange as it seems, we do have that opportunity. So, ladies and gentlemen, I must say at this part of the season, as you can see, I'm wearing my camo Steeler towel in honor of our wonderful veterans. So I give a shout out to our veterans far and wide across the world. Big Tiz, Big O, Steeler Nation, I have one word. You should all know what that is by now. And that's Pittsburgh! Here we go. Let's go beat the Detroit Lions. Rude Dog out.
Heckle and Jekyll Sports Cards, Collectibles, and Video Games. Open 7 days a week here in Rochester, New York. Mike has all kinds of individual cards and packs. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, just to name a few. Mike also has the widest variety of video games too, from Sega Genesis to Wii to PlayStation to Nintendo, Game Boy Color Advance, and so on. Mike has all the old school games you can't rent or buy anymore. Mike also has a great selection of autographed memorabilia, sports jerseys, hats, 8x10s signed by your professional athletes for you to buy. He also has video game, Yu-Gi-Oh, and poker tournaments, Beanie Babies, Bratz dolls, sports figures, and more. Mike runs the show 7 days a week. Call Mike, 585-889-9130. That's 585-889-9130. Folks, if you're not in Rochester and you're looking for that hard-to-buy memorabilia, call Mike or look him up on the web at heckjack@rochester.rr.com. Once again, folks, that's heckjack@rochester.rr.com. But if you are in Rochester, you can go down to Chile Avenue, that's 3240 in the Chile Paul Village. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz.
And right now, this is part of the show where we come in at you with what went right and what went wrong. And usually, Big Tiz, for those of you who are just watching or tuning in who haven't watched the show, we always start out with what went wrong.
That's right.
No, wrong.
You got me.
Gotcha. And so, a couple of things. Not too many things went wrong. Well, you tend to think that when you have a victory, but not so in this case. A couple things still went wrong, and a lot of stuff we need to work on, Big Tiz. What do you think about that?
That's true. And one of them, like you said, the major thing was the turnover with the Steelers actually driving again. I thought the Steelers were going to actually score, get their first score on their first opening drive of the season, except for the Tennessee game when we led 2-0, on a
safety.
Right. And Ben threw a pick. And that actually led down to the Bills returning it down to our side of the field, deep in our territory, maybe the 30-yard line or so.
Yes.
And the defense holding and the Bills getting 3 points. And as you alluded to earlier, the fact of the Steelers always having those issues, having to play from behind, and that's what this ended up being, playing from behind already in the game. The game wasn't even 10 minutes old.
That's true. And even though it was 3 points and not 7 points, still, you don't want to play catch-up. And it all has to do with the psyche as well. Here we go again. Not again. Now already you're in that mentality where we have to do extra stuff. And when you start doing extra stuff, that's when you make extra mistakes.
Right.
So already we're in the hole. We already have a turnover. We're already down some points. So really, we're just playing the way we usually play, catch-up. Make mistakes. Also, too many stupid penalties. Now, what do I mean stupid penalties? There's holding, there's questionable pass interference, but the one by Jarvis Jones on the kickoff where we had Buffalo deep in their territory was a punt or kick. Can't remember. But Jarvis Jones, the guy was trying, for what it looked, I don't know, there was no audio in the play. there was a big, scrum in the middle, and it looked to me as though the Buffalo Bill player was helping him up, but we don't know what was said on the field, though.
Right. That's right. I remember that play.
We can see what's happening. It looked as though he was trying to help him up. We don't know what the guy is saying. So, not to take anything away from Jarvis Jones, but you can't do that. You can't get up. You can't push him. Not only push him, you can't punch a guy in the face, especially right in front of the referee and 80 million people watching on TV.
Exactly. That's a good way to find yourself on the bench. And he actually got a good reaming from Coach Tomlin.
Yeah, that was great. In fact, he should have sat the bench the rest of the half. I mean, they do that in college.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Stupid. That would be a stupid play.
Exactly.
So, stupid penalty. So we got to eliminate those because we're making too many penalties during the game. We don't need any extra penalties to give them.
I agree. In the punting situation, we got a new punter in. We got rid of your guy, Mesco.
Yeah.
Which hurt you, I know, deeply. But the punter that we had, I mean, one of his punts, I'm not even sure if it went 15 yards.
I think actually, not to be funny, I think it went 23 or 26 yards first punt. But it wasn't to the wind. It was a high wind. Let's wait. Let's wait to see how this kid does in a dome or whatnot. Ex-Dallas Cowboy, so that might give you...
That's problem number one.
That might give you, yeah.
And also, the other things that went wrong in the game was the defense. They were swarming in that game, and I'll give them that. And they were playing physical, but the fact is, you need to get those turnovers. And I'm not sure if we had one or two. I'm not positive.
We had one. Okay, Clark with the interception late in the game, and we'll talk about that later.
Right, and the Steelers need to get a little bit more on that, either getting some more sacks in or things like that. Sacks lead to turnovers, interceptions lead to turnovers. So the Steelers have to work on that.
Yeah, and they need to be more aggressive on defense. We forced Manuel to throw a couple bad throws, but we really didn't get a hold of him. We didn't knock him down too many times. We had a couple sacks. We'll get to later in the stats, but for a young quarterback, you have to really, really get in his face, get in his head, get in his mind, so he makes more actual turnovers, not just throwing the ball away. And I do believe he had a intentional grounding penalty late in the game when they scored that that garbage touchdown, which with 3 seconds left to go in the game, the play they did score on was a legal procedure. There was a bunch of guys moving on the line.
I noticed that as well. You know what? I sat and watched the game with a couple guys. Actually, I want to give a big shout out to a big viewer who's going to be joining us this weekend. Will, he actually sat in, a big Steeler fan, sat in, watched the game with us at my family member's house, and this family member was a Bills guy, so and Will stepped up. He was supporting his black and gold no matter what the year, how the season goes. He's a true fan. So Will, big up. Hope you view on tonight. You know what? A lot of episodes to come beyond this one, brother. So keep watching.
Right, and also we talked about the offensive side of the ball with Roethlisberger throwing it early interception. No play action. Heath Miller, invisible.
Right.
And even if you're up, 10 points, 17 points, you have to get your tight ends involved in the game.
Exactly. And if you looked at the game Sunday night with Dallas versus the New Orleans Saints, if you notice, Dallas didn't really use their tight end as much as they usually do when they have success.
Right, and they got blown out.
Yeah.
I mean, not as bad as we got destroyed by
pretty close,
Patriots.
though.
Pretty close. I think the difference was a touchdown for the Saints, and Dallas only scored, I think, 17 points.
Yep.
Where we at least put up 31 points. I don't know. What's worse? I think the Cowboys got beat worse than we did.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
They showed no signs of life.
No.
We did in spurts, but
get the defibrillator out.
That was a rough game. Exactly.
Claire.
They needed
it.
But you know what, guys? Let's jump to the things that went right for the Steelers in this game. Time of possession for the Steelers in this game was huge. They held on the ball for 35 minutes and 16 seconds. That was huge. That was the majority of the game.
That's right. We talked about that last show, that when you look at the statistics and you see the time of possession, when a team usually has more than the other team, you usually come out on top. And this is one of those games where we came out on top.
Right. And we only had one turnover, which was the one Ben shot on our opening possession. So, you know what? Much kudos to the Steelers keeping that down, the turnovers down. I did notice that Ben was throwing a lot of balls short
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he got a little scared from that one pick, but he's got to work on some of his timing and his throwing routes. So
I don't think he overthrew any receivers.
No, he didn't.
He underthrew them
A lot.
But the one touchdown that we threw to Cottree in the end zone, that was a play action. See, for the life of me, I don't understand. When the play works, why do we not use it more?
Well, I think a lot of that had to come with the fact that if you don't really have a running game, they're not going to respect it anyway.
Well, we had a pretty decent running game.
Well, yeah, that day we did. But, from games beyond this.
Right. And we rushed another game for over 100 yards, which is a positive, which is a good thing. And Jonathan Dwyer is stepping up. He had, I think, 6 carries for 37 yards, but we'll get to that in the stats next. But to slowly establish that running game, that's good. We're increasingly, game by game, getting better at certain areas that we need to get better at. And just like Mike Tomlin says, we need to execute, we need to do our job on the field. And there's a lot of areas that need work. And as long as we keep on improving, they're not great improvements, not huge improvements, but they're improvements. And that's what we have to keep on focusing. We need to work and focus on the positives and build on top of that.
And like you said, the Steelers took the lead, held on to the lead. And you know what? They did have a lull period in the game, but it looked like they were still trying to score and get that offense going. So that was very good to see that, instead of just getting a lead and almost trying to protect it.
Right, absolutely. So other than the fact that we literally won 23-3. You take away that junk touchdown at the end.
Right.
But still, win-loss column, style points, you look, wins and loss. Did we beat the Bills? That's all that matters. We could have beat them by 100 points or 1 point. It doesn't matter. Game's over. It's a win. Put it on the left side.
Exactly. Well, the Steelers, they had a total of 300 yards for the Steelers. The Bills had 227. Honestly, I don't know how the Bills got 227. To be honest, it didn't look like it to me. Steelers had 6 penalties for 42 yards. The Bills were 4 for 30. And time possession, like I said earlier, for the Steelers, 35 minutes, 16 seconds, and 24 minutes and 44 seconds for the Bills. Now, the Steelers did have a lot of playmakers on the team that day. Roethlisberger, 18 for 30, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, and that 1 pick in the opening drive.
That's right, and we're turnoverless for the rest of the game, which was fantastic. Usually some teams, they melt down after the first turnover. They try to do too much after that, which creates more turnovers. We didn't put the ball on the ground, no fumbles. And Le'Veon Bell, 22 rushes for 57 yards, 1 touchdown. That was the turning point of the game we alluded to earlier, where the Steelers went for the field goal and Buffalo went off sides. So while we say that was a turning point of the game, because that could have been a 13-3 score instead of a 17-3 score, which Buffalo would have been still in it. Even though 17-3, you're still kind of in it. But still, 13-3 is a better score to come back from than 17-3. So that was pretty much huge. And we had a couple running backs. We had Dwyer, 6 for 38.
Good.
And not to mention Sanders, the 1 for 25 yards. Now that was a great play.
Yeah.
That was a great play. I think that was designed to give the ball back to Ben, and Ben was either going to run with it or throw it. But Sanders, using his mind, held onto the ball, hit the corner, and went for 25 yards. That's the kind of initiative that we need on this team.
Exactly. In the receiving area, Antonio led the Steelers in yardage again. Well, this week anyway. Cottree was usually having a big one lately. 6 catches for 104 yards. And Cottree actually 2 catches for 31 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, he didn't do the 3 touchdown game as he did prior to that. But you know what? He's still in there. He's still showing these young kids that he can still do it. And getting back to the Dallas Cowboy game, the Saint game, that's what Des Bryant did. He wasn't getting any action, outside, so they moved him into the slot. And what happens? Huge catch for him.
Yeah.
So these slot receivers are pretty much, the guys to go to right now this time of the year. And Cottree appears to be that. And I think he's stealing the ball away from Heath Miller. I don't know.
Well, like I said, we need Heath Miller because a tight end can help control the game.
That's it.
And they can help get those short yardage and make things manageable for a quarterback. Getting a 4-yard completion here, a 5-yard completion here. That adds up to where you're like, now you're 3rd and 1. You're 3rd and 2.
But the thing that kills Heath Miller he's a great blocking tight end.
Exactly.
And now that we got Le'Veon Bell who can catch the ball out of the backfield, now you see he's got 30 yards catching, 50 yards catching. So they're swinging the ball out to him instead of expecting Heath Miller to go down and get to 7, 8 yards. And I guess they're having Heath Miller staying in block for Le'Veon to do the deed.
Yeah, and you're right. That does suck. It's almost being penalized for being good at something else as well. But
it's killing me in my fantasy. 0 points. Heath Miller, 0 points.
But you got to give it to him, a quality guy, you know. The defense for the Steelers, 3 sacks, 1 interception. Now, if you look at the other side of the Bills have 4 sacks and 1 interception. But with the Steelers, we're always known right now with our line situation of giving up sacks.
Right.
And Ben holds on to the ball a little sometimes. So I can see the other teams getting those sacks coming in. But we just have to try to work on lessening them.
That's it. And the running attack for Buffalo was almost non-existent. Jackson, 12 carries, 55 yards. Spiller, 8 for 23. Both guys, that's the wheels
Right.
of the Buffalo Bills offense. And I don't understand why they didn't utilize him more, especially when their starting quarterback is coming off an injury. He's really rusty. You can see he's not really accurate on his passes. A couple of them were dropped, but still, you cannot get away from that ground. That's what you're known for.
Right.
And the Bills been pretty much running all over everybody this season, especially the number 1 defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. They proved it the other day. And I don't understand why they didn't come out full force running when we were down. The Steelers defense couldn't tackle anybody. You know, and just like Mike Tomlin said in his interview, and when somebody asked why the defense stood up, did we do anything different? And Tomlin said, you know what? No, we didn't do anything different, nothing special. It's just these guys tackled when they had to.
Right.
The guys were in their positions where they're supposed to be.
And that's all it is. Like I said, you can be the best coach there is out there in pro football, but you got to have guys that can block, guys that can tackle, and that makes a difference.
Being in your spot and tackling somebody. Nothing different, nothing extraordinary, nothing special, no super techniques. It's that you're there, you got to tackle somebody. Simple as that. And we haven't been doing that. That's why we did so good against Buffalo, because guys were in their positions and they were doing their job. Hey, defense, you tackle somebody.
Exactly.
They tackle.
Hey, God, but you know, in this game, we didn't have a huge amount of injuries, but we did have some injuries.
Oh, we had a couple injuries.
I'm going to let Big O talk about the injuries that we had.
Oh, not good. We don't want to get... They're not season-ending injuries.
Right.
But you get your bumps, you get your bruises, you get your scrapes. What scared me was when Shamarko Thomas went down. Thank God it was only an ankle injury.
Physical hitter from Syracuse.
If you want to say, only an ankle injury, it was an ankle day. Lamar Woodley, ankle, and Ramon Foster,
right,
also an ankle injury. So these guys are day to day. We're going to evaluate them, and we're going to find out later in the week who's going to be playing next week. And we all know that's our offensive line. DeCastro, he's still doubtful for Sunday, and all the other guys in the offensive line who have been out with minor injuries, we're still banged up. So stay tuned on that. But Woodley, he's a gamer, so you could expect him to play regardless.
Exactly.
If he has a broken ankle, femur, dislocated shoulder, he's a gamer, he's a player. He'll be there this Sunday.
Hey guys, we're about to hit to a commercial, but once we come back from the commercial, we're going to pregame the Steelers' next opponents, the Detroit Lions, coming into Heinz Field. Next up.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, look no further than Dan Powell. Dan knows that buying or selling a home is one of the most important things you will ever do. Dan wants to make that experience as smooth and successful as possible. Dan's extensive expertise in the real estate market will benefit you whether you're looking to buy or sell a home. Once Dan knows what you want, he will work tirelessly to find the right home for you, because no one should compromise when it comes to such a huge purchase. Whether you're looking for homes for sale, moving resources, or even mortgage information, everything you need is right here with Dan. Dan will always be available for personal service by phone or email, so feel free to contact him with questions at any time. So when buying or selling a home, don't get frustrated or throw in the towel. Just call Dan Powell at 585-704-8255 585-704-8324. That's 585-704-8324, or email Dan at dan@rochhomefinder.com. That's Dan at ROCHOMEFINDER.com.
Hey, welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. Big Tiz.
I'm Big O.
The Steelers have Detroit Lions heading into Heinz Field this week. It's going to be an epic game. This is a high-scoring offense. The Steelers have to find ways to win this game, and they got to start by actually cutting out Megatron, the big man for them. So Steelers got a lot of work to do for them. We're going to go over some of the things that the Steelers need to do to win this game.
I think Willie Gay is going to have to get on Cortez Allen's shoulders. He's going to be running around because this guy is huge. And you know what? We can't, because they're a dome team. All right, Big Tiz, we cannot say, hey, dome team coming into Pittsburgh, we should have an edge. We don't have an edge. And I'll tell you why. There's two teams in that conference. The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, both with outside stadiums, both colder and probably windier than Heinz Field.
Right.
So they're used to this cold. They're used to the wind. It's really not. We might as well be playing in a dome right now. Not the dome in Dallas with the hole in the roof, but an actual dome with a hole roof. A dome. A
whole dome.
A whole dome. Not retractable, because it's not. A lot of people think that Dallas has a retractable ceiling. No. Architecture.
Hey, but the Steelers have to.
That's right.
They have to control Johnson. This guy is an animal. He's a beast. Hell of a receiver. Last week had another big game.
Right.
This guy is uncontrollable, and like you said, we have small defensive backs, and I really don't see how we're gonna control this guy. I can see the Steelers probably trying to double up on him.
Well, I see right now a couple things need to happen. One, we cannot have Polamalu freelancing at the line.
Right.
As much as we need to get pressure on Bradford, we cannot have him freelancing. Maybe a couple plays, yes, but I believe if we put Ike Taylor, because Ike Taylor has been the man this year. Okay, the man. When it comes to covering big-name receivers, Ike Taylor has been the man so far, and you know what? I don't see him stopping. And if you have a little safety help back there, I think we can shut him down.
Right, and that has a lot to do with it, because, like I said, I can see Detroit trying to go to their outlet receivers more or less, like their tight ends, like Pettigrew.
Oh, he had a huge game. Pettigrew had a huge game last week. 5 catches for 7 yards. Tight end, no touchdowns, but still, that's the guy that they go to on 3rd and long to keep the drives going.
Right.
And I see if we give too much attention to Chris Johnson, Megatron, that Pettigrew is going to have a huge game.
Right. And don't forget, the Steelers have to keep key on Reggie Bush.
Ouch.
So if the Steelers can control their run game, which is the first part of it, you have to control that run game, because he's a dangerous back. If he gets in the secondary, bye-bye. There's no way of them catching him.
And also, just like Le'Veon Bell is showing us and fans that he can catch out of the backfield, this is a gimme. This is what made him huge in New Orleans, with the swing, the outlet passes, the play action. I mean,
yep,
we have our hands full for next game.
Yes, we do. We do have our hands full, and that's one of the things the Steelers going to have to do a lot of defensive thought in this game. And like we said, you have to be on a well-balanced page, because if the defense comes to play, the offense, you got to back them up by scoring some points. So this is going to be key for the Steelers. The weather will not be a factor in this game.
No, it won't be.
So the Steelers are going to – it might be a little rain here and there maybe, but the Steelers have to play physical, and they have to play and get prepare for probably a rainy type day.
I like how you said that. You're absolutely right, because physical. The defense has to play physical. Get those lines off their game. We have to do bump and run. We have to hit everybody coming off that line.
Right.
If Reggie Bush is coming off, hit him. Knock him on his butt. Pettigrew, knock him on his butt. Get in his face. You know what? And same thing with Chris Johnson. We do this. We rush Bradford, get him off his game, and we have a shot. Now, their defense really isn't – I think they're overrated.
Well, yeah.
They only had 2 sacks last game against the Bears, and that's coming off with Jay Cutler, who just came off a huge injury. So only 2 sacks on him. That's not saying much.
Well, they really don't have that good of a defense, but their defense knows how to play in certain situations, because they did play well enough to shut the Cowboys down at certain points in the game. The Cowboys have a good pressure type offense. Well, they doubled up a lot on they doubled up on a lot on the outside on the Cowboys receivers, and kind of tried to force the run game to beat them, but they ended up winning that game late, which was nice,
Right.
So, but the thing about it is, the Steelers have a lot of work for them cut out this week, and if they can start out by, like I said, shutting down that run game first, doubling up on Chris Johnson, and probably having to force Pettigrew probably to be the main one to beat you, to be honest. And, it has to be the other way. You have to watch out for Pettigrew, and you have to watch out for the swing passes of Reggie Bush.
Right. Now, offensively, we have to score early.
Right.
We have to score a lot of points. We want them to play catch-up. We want them to get off their game. We want them to be on their heels. Not like us. We cannot turn over the ball. Roethlisberger has to be very, very smart in this game. And just keep the time possession like we did against the Buffalo Bills. If we keep Bradford, Johnson, Bush, Pettigrew off the field, it's hard for them to score any points.
Right.
And we have to, getting back to the Bills game, we cannot play the type of game we did. That is, when we have the opportunities to score 7, we have to score 7. Even though, Big Tiz, we talked about this before the show, even if we have what is good, you want to say is a good lead,
right,
3 scores, 3 possessions or whatnot, you have to put these teams away. Field goals are great, but we have to learn how to put other teams away by scoring touchdowns. You have the lead. Leads can be lost.
Right.
That's been shown throughout the NFL. Look what happened to the Ravens. They were pretty much in control that whole game. It took one play to send it in overtime. That's 7 points. Not 2 field goals, not 3 field goals.
Right.
We have to learn to put teams away, and that's what we have to do. Put them away early, like teams have been doing to us when we lost a couple of our games. We're out early and playing catch up. You have to do different things. Your offense is different. Your schemes are different. You're forced to do. You're forcing yourself to try harder, and that's when you turn the ball over, and that's when Roethlisberger gets in trouble. That's when we lose games with turning the ball over. And
the Steelers also as well have to probably try some different wrinkles. Try to put some new trick plays into the offense during this game, because you can't keep giving them a dose of the same type medicine. And you want them to expect something different, or think that it's going to be the same thing coming at you time and time again. You want something different to pop out at them. And the Steelers, the last game, I think they did one trick play, and that was it. The Steelers, you got to be unpredictable in this type of NFL. You have to.
Here's what I like to see for that Wildcat. We said a couple shows back, we want somebody to name this offensive scheme other than the Wildcat, because when I hear Wildcat, I'm thinking of the Dolphins who created this. We need to come up with something different. Please, folks, come up with a name, send it to us. We'll send you a prize if we use it on the show, because I don't want to hear this Wildcat crap anymore. But getting back to Wildcat crap, here's what I like to see. Le'Veon Bell taking the snap, tossing the ball to Roethlisberger, who plays out, who's lined up wide, and have him throw it down, have him throw a touchdown.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I mean, you take him, he takes a snap, he runs out, pitches it to Roethlisberger, he comes back around, and he throws the bomb to Sanders or Brown.
That'd be nice on a team that had good line blocking.
Right. It doesn't matter. You get the ball out fast, it can be done. It will be done. Hey, mark my word, folks. If this happens and we score a touchdown, you can call that play the Big O.
Hey, guys, stay tuned as we go to our final thoughts on the show. Next up on Steeler Nation Live.
Uniform Express, located on 1408 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, for your police, fire, or EMS supplies. One of Rochester's top and finest suppliers of shirts, pants, shoes, boots, and accessories for your professional uniform needs. Uniform Express also does embroidery and screen print for team uniforms, jerseys, and corporations. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also go to their website at www.uniformexpress.com or call Brian at 585-529-4245. That's 585-529-4245. And let Brian know you heard his ad on our show, Steeler Nation Live.
SteelerNationLive.net. It's live. Join Big O,
Big T,
every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. New York's only in-depth analysis of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Black and Gold,
Game review,
game
injury report,
review,
releases,
who got fired,
fantasy stats,
fantasy football,
rumor, anything and everything you want to know about the black and gold.
SteelerNationLive.net.
It's McGinney's Sports Pub, located at 2246 East River Road. A perfect blend of Irish charm and Italian cuisine. From Calabria favorites like calamari to chicken French to the new signature dish like the Steel City Deli.
The Rothless Burger.
Everything is delicious and prepared fresh for you. They offer a full lineup of your favorite beverages with drink specials daily, and don't forget their $5 Monster Bomb.
Ice cold beer.
All day, every day. With 2 floors of seating and 20 high-def televisions, there's not a bad seat in the house to catch every minute of the NFL action.
Watch what you want.
McGinney's is the official home of the Rochester Steelers fan club.
Steelers!
So come on down to McGinney's Sports Pub, 2246 East River Road in Henrietta.
Hi, Big O here from Steeler Nation Live with your future weather forecast for this upcoming game, Sunday, November 17th, where we'll be hosting the Detroit Lions here at Heinz Field. Folks, the high temperature is going to be 55 degrees with the low 46, but there is a 40% chance of rain, which means a lot of rain. So it's going to happen. Bring your weather gear and be ready for another Steeler victory this Sunday against the Detroit Lions. I'm Big O for Steeler Nation Live with your Steeler future forecast.
Guys, I bet you're wondering why we're sitting here laughing and everything about this. It's because Big O made the blooper reel.
Hold on a second. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live, folks. I'm Big O. This is Big Tiz. Big Tiz is kind of like all right, go ahead.
I wanted to correct him during the whole process when he kept saying Sam Bradford. I don't know, for some reason he had it fixed in his head that the Detroit Lions quarterback was Sam Bradford.
Stafford right here. Matt Stafford. Why do I have Sam Bradford on the mind?
So just to let you guys know, we realized the mistake and he realized the mistake. So like I said, now he knows it's Stafford, not Bradford.
Stafford. Everybody, I know you can understand how it can confuse the two, maybe. But, yeah, it was a nice commercial break. I'll be hearing this for a long time. However,
hey guys, but we're going to continue on. Everybody makes mistakes, but we're going to continue on. I'm going to give you my final thoughts for the night, and we'll see if Big O can get it together enough and, get that Bradford thing out of his mind and give out his final thoughts. But anyway,
I'm going to get his jersey now.
Let's start off with number one. I'm going to tab this as a team that could be on the rise and a team that could not be. The Steelers could be there if they put everything into it. Just like that game they just played against the Buffalo Bills, like Big O said earlier, the defense was in positions, but the difference was they're making tackles. That's a team that's trying to get on the rise. But the Steelers have to keep that type of tenacity to continue game after game after game if they want to be successful. So this is a team that could be. If the Steelers do the things that he did against the Buffalo Bills, they could be a contender. The Steelers have to put everything in place, especially with the upcoming game against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, the Steelers have to be on their game. They have to be in their positions, and they have to make tackles. You can't miss tackles against a running back like the ones that the Detroit Lions have. He's slippery. This guy gets in the secondary, and you can forget it. Megatron, another one they have to cover heavily. The Steelers have to be on that. You can't have blown assignments. Blown assignments are costly, as we've seen against the New England Patriots, where the Patriots burned us play after play after play. The Steelers have to be there, just like we said again against this game against the Buffalo Bills. I see the Steelers this game, but winning this game in close fashion. I can see it being a 24-20 game where the Steelers coming out on top, and probably with a little rain in this game. And the Steelers they're a good bad weather team. So let's see if it pans out that way. So this is Big Tiz giving my final thoughts for the Steelers winning this game in Pittsburgh Heinz Field.
Okay, Number one, I wanna apologize to Matt Stafford. Even though Sam Bradford is a top quality quarterback, I apologize to Matt Stafford. Didn't mean you any disrespect, or vice versa to Sam Bradford. On that note, okay, Steeler Nation, great win against the Buffalo Bills. We just got to keep this ball rolling. As Mike Tomlin said, that nothing was changed, nothing was different. They didn't do anything special. The only thing they did do with their jobs, they tackled when they were supposed to. They're in a position where they're supposed to. This is something that we need to grow upon, okay? Grow with things that we're doing right, and do better the next game. Now, with that being said, what we have to do is we cannot play catch up. We are not in a position as a 3-6 team to come out of the cellar and pull out these victories, these last-second victories like we've done in the past. We cannot do that anymore. We have to be a team right now that has to hold on to leads, not come back from leads. And we have to play 60 minutes of football, not 30 minutes, because we've shown in the past that if we only play 30, we're not going to win. We come up short, and we can't do that. We have to stop making these mental mistakes. We have to stop throwing the ball. We have to stop giving the ball away to other teams, putting it on the ground, fumbling it. We have to do more of the opposite. We have to take away the ball. We have to show these teams that we are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're not the Jets. We're not the Bills. We're not the Cowboys. We're not the Dolphins. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a rich heritage of black and gold, strength. That's what Steel is all about. Being strong and just being a great football organization. Are we going to have setbacks? Yes, we're going to have a lot of setbacks. But you know what? We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is territory we're unfamiliar with, but nothing that we can't handle and nothing that we cannot overcome. Mike Tomlin, nothing special. Just do your jobs. If Ben is back there in the pocket with time, he is an accurate passer. We're going to score touchdowns. We have to give him that time. If the line blocks, we have a great rushing attack. That's what our history is founded on. Smash mouth football. Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, Willie Parker, the Bus, Jerome Bettis, and now we have Le'Veon Bell. We got Jonathan Dwyer. Folks, we have a great bunch of runners that we can score touchdowns. We get the blocking. We can pass. We can run, and we can take leads, and we can hold on to leads. But right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Big Tiz, are not in a position to be playing catch up every game. The games that were in the lead, we've held on and we've won. We're 3-6. Next week we can be 4-6, and so on and so on. And we can do this, folks. Nobody's gonna get fired. Nobody's leaving, especially Big Ben. He's not going anywhere. He's gonna stay. Black and gold forever, just like me and just like Big Tiz. And with that, we hope you had a great Veterans Day. Salute our veterans. If you know one, give them a hug, give her a hug, give them a handshake, give them a high five, and just thank everybody for a great job they're doing. And I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz. Like I said, thanks again, guys, for joining us here on Still a Nation Live, especially this Veteran Memorial Day one. Guys, go out there, respect, just like Big O said. We're all here. They support us, so let's support them here on Still a Nation Live.
And Tyler, good luck, son. I know you can do it. I'm proud of you. Even if you weren't wearing a uniform, son, I just can't, words cannot express how proud I am of you.
There you have it. Another one in the books on Still a Nation Live.
Big Tiz, Big O, Still a Nation, man. Yeah, Mr. Stump, Big O. Yeah, I had to say it was a stump, man. Cause it is a stump, man. Yeah, Big Tiz, Big O, Big Tiz, Big yeah. The name of the future. And we're the name of the future. We're the name of the future. And we're the name of the future. Hey. Yeah. Shout out to the Big Teds, man. And Big O. It's still a nation, man. Yeah. Big Ted. Big O. You know what it is, man. It's still a nation, man. Big O. Yeah. Big O. Every night on Monday night, man. 7 to 8 on Monday night. Big O. Big Teds. And this is Stump. And this is still a nation. Big Teds. Big O. It's Big Teds. Big O.